Hello, this is Angelo again, and as promised, I have my friend and guest here, Cynthia Anne King from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she is a yogi or yogini, as they
Yogini.
say in the trade, um, and also a hairstylist and a Jill of many trades. Um, so, we're going to talk a little bit more about yoga. That's your field of knowledge. And what are we going to talk about today? What would you like to let people know who aren't very um,
Aren't very
the word, the word,
maybe like intimidated or don't know a lot about it, maybe or
yeah, the people who aren't very educated or don't have a great understanding of yoga. What would you maybe intimidated could be part of that, or maybe just curious? What would you say about yoga to lure people into your web of yoga?
well, the most important
Mindset.
thing I think for me is that yoga brought me back to myself, and so and just always to remember it's not about the postures; it's more about becoming one with yourself. So if you're unable to do some postures and that looks really hard and intimidating, please don't let that intimidate you. I can be. So if you're looking for like wellness and feeling whole and learning about yourself and going in, I recommend definitely a look for like beginners yoga or a soft hatha yoga class. And the movement, usually in something like that, we'll move and then we'll meditate at the end. So that kind of the point of doing the postures is to let our body move in a way that we can sit and meditate. So it's really not about the Instagram stuff that you see. So please don't let that scare you away from it at all because it's such a wonderful gift that we have from the East.
And yoga has been quite appropriated by, like you said, in Western culture. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. There's like the Zumba yoga. There's the heavy sweat, hot yoga.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of yogas, anyways,
Right.
in Eastern practice. But there's a sort of connotation about what yoga means to a lot of people in the West that aren't familiar with it. Would you say that's true?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as we always do in the West, we take things from other cultures and tend to whitewash them. I'm just going to say that. So I'm actually working with a group of yogis and yoginis right now that just kind of trying to get. There's two sides of this coin. So part of it is, why not? Like it's no big deal if you want to do yoga and with your cat or whatever. Like it's cool, do it, but it's not. That's not the point of it. That's just kind of fun, whatever. That's
Beer
Western stuff.
yoga?
Beer yoga.
There's a lot of breweries I noticed that are doing, or wineries.
Yeah, that's become a big thing. I mean, here's my thing.
It's a
Whatever
shtick,
makes you,
a little shticky.
if you like it, do it. But my
Right.
thing is like, I mean,
Whatever
I'm
gets
not,
you
I'm
into
not
it.
judging. Yeah,
Whatever
but
gets
like,
you to do it, right?
right. And I'm definitely not judging. I just am saying like that's not where you're. I'm not gonna go to beer yoga and find myself. Okay, I'm gonna be drunk.
And
You
she
know-
will be.
yeah.
No. We don't drink. But
We don't drink. I haven't drank in, gosh, it'll be 4 years in, I think January or something. That's a big thing. It's just, it's so much easier too, to when you start becoming, learning about yourself and yoking. Yoga means to yoke or
yoked.
unite.
No, different.
Then coming together with yourself. I just lost my train of thought.
It's yoga.
Anyway.
I'm sorry, I was getting on.
No, what I was going to say was like, so with yoga, all these trends and everything, I mean, please don't let that turn you off either, but maybe consider doing a little research. Where did yoga come from? And that's nice for me. I mean, if you're interested, if you're not, then, I mean, whatever gets you to become yoke with yourself, that's great. I call it mind, body, breath in my classes because it's not my job I'm not a spiritual, I'm not a guru, I'm not your guru. I'm not anybody's guru.
my instructor, who was wonderful, shout out to Sandra Kale, she
Sandra.
said something along the lines of, I am not your teacher, and I am not your instructor. That is you. You are your own instructor. I am your
Yes.
guide.
That's the
Like,
word that I usually use. I'm here to guide.
So, if there's questions or posture manipulations and things like that, a good guide can help you with those things. But it's really going at your own pace.
Absolutely. You might consider, if you're interested in yoga, it is nice to do. A lot of people will say, "Oh, well, I do it at home on a video," but it is nice if you can get into a community center or something in your area that is accessible for you. It's less intimidating, and it's definitely fun to meet other people that are interested in a similar path. And it's nice to find a little community if you can too for your yoga.
One thing that I've discovered in myself, knowing when I get into something like, oh, I'm going to dive into yoga, I want to go into it hard and quick and fast and get like the full experience as fast as possible. And that can lead to burnout. And I know with yoga that even the slightest practice, like I started off not knowing what I was doing yoga in chairs at one point when I was not in good health. With my
and chair yoga is great.
Cancer.
Do chair yoga if you can.
It's for me. It was more about the breath and the inner space state that I was in than it was the actual getting those muscles stretched out. Because I think that there's a lot of people out there that work out a lot of the time and they're injuring their body because they're just trying to get these cut muscles.
Yeah, yoga is not going to give you cut muscles. Yoga it'll make you more limber, and yes, if you do practice fast-paced yoga where you're sweating and that kind of stuff, yeah, you might lose a little bit of weight, but please do not go to yoga to lose weight.
So so yes, we didn't get this cut just from, yoga. We do other things too.
Yeah.
Totally.
Sorry, no, but it will. I mean, I was very unhealthy when I started my yoga path, and it just wasn't healthy. I mean, and I was just unhealthy. I don't know the way to put it. And I'm healthier now at 46 and a half years old than I ever have been in my entire life, even when I was young and skinny. So yeah, it just is nice to feel the wellness, and like you're talking about the mind, the breathe, coming back to your breath. In my description of my classes, I say that I'm here to bring people to their breath, and whatever happens after that. So I teach a very soft movement, and it's nice because when we're moving and we're thinking about, like I'll do a lot of looking at our own hand, moving up and down our focal points, and so if you're doing that and you're engaged in yourself for an hour a week, or if you can do 10 minutes a day. Maybe you go to a
5
class.
minutes a day.
5 minutes a day.
1 minute.
Yeah, I mean like a minute, and it eventually just starts snowballing. I mean, I did go into, when I started yoga, I did go like a lot. But I also was, it was so helpful for me that I just kept going back, and I do live right next to the yoga studio where I go. So that's also accessibility is a big thing, and we're really trying to work on that right now as the yoga community.
Setting really lofty goals for yourself, though, is great, like long-term, but trying to get to those so quickly can create a sense of frustration, I think, and discouragement. Yeah, you're setting yourself up for feeling like you failed, whereas if you have small goals that are easy to attain, you're more likely to exceed those goals rather than setting these super lofty goals where you're going to come up short and feel like you failed every day. So, like, something's always better than nothing when it comes to doing something positive for yourself. And I think that's a big thing with yoga, because you really you shouldn't be in that room if you're in a class looking around and seeing what everyone else is doing. You should be focused on yourself. Maybe get other people as a guide to see what the postures look like if you can do them. But I think that following your own inner guide is the most important thing for me, at least when I started doing yoga, because I am not going to tie myself up into a pretzel. And
no, I mean, and not everybody can do all those postures.
I can't even touch my toes, and I've gotten way more limber. But I mean,
I focus more on getting off the ground in my class. So as far as the posture practices, what I teach is I focus just getting on the ground. I will give a shout out if you live in Portland. Go check out Burning Spirits Yoga. They have, it's all donation. So it's open, and you might look on their schedule. They do have some, I would highly recommend checking out their schedule. Check out a soft class. They're a very accepting community. So There's one place, but there's also, you go to yoga here.
I like community center yoga. I like just doing like my own practice as well. I like to discover my own bodies and movements that I feel like I'm getting a good stretch with. You know, you never want to go to the point of pain, but if you move your body in a way, it doesn't even have to be yoga. It could be a stretch. It could be like, you know, just moving your arm a lot and during a day. It's better than just sitting still and becoming lethargic and you know, atrophy. You want to keep that body moving.
Absolutely.
Because, you know,
even from a chair, you can do, even just stretching up, stretching down.
From a perspective, breath is a movement in itself. But my grandmother, who is an inspiration through my life, she passed away, but she lived to almost 101. And the thing that she told me, and I know this is true of my other grandfather as well, is that movement, like, just keep moving. The Grim Reaper is waiting for you to stop. You know, if you just keep moving, you're going to feel better and you're going to live longer. That's just all there is to it.
And the quality of life that you have, you just feel better, have a better quality of life if you move. Movement is super important. So don't let the word yoga intimidate you, please. Check it out if you're at all interested. I just highly recommend it. It's really good. But again, maybe check out like a community center first, or if you're up for it, there's a lot of yoga studios here. So
yeah, there's an abundance of yoga in places like Portland and most cities. Also, though, there's the internet. We have access to that. There's infinite amounts of knowledge online.
Eckhart Yoga is a good one for me. I mean, you look for it, but then they have some that you pay for, but they also have a whole lot on YouTube that are free. And that's where who I started with first going to yoga studio was Esther Eckhart, and she has a beautiful accent, so a beautiful voice.
And, you know, just keep breathing deep, full breaths. You know, I think that's one thing that I've learned from all of this is that in the modern pace of today's world, we're shallow breathers. We breathe more inhales and exhales than we should be, but we're taking it just from the shallow. We're not belly breath. We're not full breath.
Using a diaphragm.
If you feel stressed or you feel down, just taking like 8 big, full, deep breaths in and out, and just like it's scientifically proven that you can reduce your blood pressure and you can like alleviate a lot of stress. So breath, man, that's what it's at.
It's the thing. I'm just as much into the breath work as I am into my physical practice. So yeah, I mean, that's the first thing I do in my classes, bring people to their breath. And, you know, a lot of and just expect wonderful things to happen, and they will.
That's true. You know, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Either way. So,
exactly.
So thanks
for watching.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you, Angelo, for having me on your show today.
And we hope to see you again. Welcome to Portland, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, and remember to subscribe. And also, there's an address here if you'd like to send us any fan mail or love. Yeah, we have a post office box here in Portland now, so send whatever you can, encouragement, anything. We appreciate it. There's Ganesh. Where is it? There he is. That's Ganesh. Bye, y'all. Bye.